Hey, what's up everyone? How's it going? Today's video is all about one of my favorite photo editing softwares, Capture One, which I use all the time, but I don't know why. I've never actually talked about it on here on this channel before. So we're gonna dive into it, but real quick before we do that, I wanna give a shout out to the awesome people over at Skillshare. Huge thanks for sponsoring this video. They have a course on Capture One, by the way, but I'll talk more about that in just a second. Now, I know all of you food photographers shoot in a studio or some form of makeshift studio. Maybe it's your kitchen, maybe it's a living room, maybe it's a dining room, maybe it's a garage, or maybe even a restaurant. Now, there's one thing that's gonna help you out in all of those places, and it's just gonna make your life so much easier. And it's not camera gear, and it's not gonna be Lightroom, it's Capture One. See, here is Capture One, in case you don't know what I'm talking about. And over here is Lightroom, and there's Capture One again. I mean, they look pretty similar, and they do a lot of the same stuff. And I know a lot of you use Lightroom, so you already know how awesome and great that program is. I mean, I love it. I even have a whole course on my website all about Lightroom. But maybe it's a little secret, I don't know, maybe not, but when I'm shooting food photography here in the studio, my camera is always connected to Capture One. If you're new to Capture One, maybe you've never heard about it before, or maybe you have and you've used it and you used it just for color adjustments or cataloging images like you would in Lightroom, then I think you're gonna wanna check this out. Lightroom is still great, I love it, I use it all the time for a lot of stuff, but for a long time now I've been using Capture One for three main reasons, which is what I wanna share with you today. Now you can shoot tethered in Lightroom as well, and if you don't know what I mean when I say shooting tethered, I mean my camera is directly connected to my computer over there via this USB cable, and it's transferring those images into the software as I take them. I can use the software to control the camera, I can use the software to take the pictures, I can do everything on the computer, I don't have to touch the camera. This is really great, and both programs do this, but Capture One just has a couple of features that are either non-existent in Lightroom or run so much better. Shooting tethered is really important for food photographers, or any studio photographer for that matter. I mean, for so many reasons. It frees up your hands so you can eliminate all that camera shake, you can control the camera and shoot the camera via the computer. It helps out with your compositions, and it's almost absolutely necessary when you're shooting on set with a client so your client can see the images, or the food stylist can see the images as they're building the scene, or anyone else for that matter who needs to see the images on set. Maybe your camera's in a weird angle above the table, and shooting tethered just makes all that stuff possible. So here is tethered capture in Lightroom just as a comparison. Now once your camera is connected, you go to File, Start Tethered Capture, click OK, and you get this overlay button which gives you some features to control the camera and some import settings and a shoot button. Hop on over to Capture One and you get a whole dedicated tab with a lot more stuff. Now, just like in Lightroom, you can control your camera's exposure and white balance right here in Capture One, but that's really where tethering in Lightroom ends. You see, you have all of the exposure stuff right here in Lightroom, and you have this import settings, which I'll get to in just a second, but that's it for Lightroom. Now, if you move back to Capture One, and you have all of these other tabs filled with stuff to play around with. Like before we even move out of this little camera tab, I can not only change my camera's exposure and all that stuff, but I could change the drive speed. I could flip it to a 2-second delay if I want, or I could change the file type. I could switch it from RAW to JPEG, or RAW plus JPEG. And then I could hop into live view, and I can make this nice and big. Then I can head on over to the table and start messing around with my composition and get it all nice and perfect, and be able to see the image nice and huge on the computer monitor. I think my dish has completely died in the last hour or so since I've been making this, so this is perfect for styling as well. Because instead of seeing it from your perspective when you're styling, you can actually see what the final image is going to look like. Another thing that's really cool, which Lightroom has as well, but I think it's just so much smoother in Capture One, is the Next Capture Adjustment tab. Here you can control what the next image you take looks like. For example, setting an auto rotate or some metadata you wish to place. Now, I'm all about the All Other tab. This allows you to create a look and feel for an image that you took and then apply that look or those adjustments to all the other images that you take during the shoot. Now, this is super, super helpful when you have those really fast deadlines. I've actually been on shoots before where the client, asked me to create a low resolution, JPEG of the image that I took and then send it to them and wait for approval before I could even tear down this set. And then after I got the approval, I couldn't readjust the image. So you can see that on this image, I've already made some adjustments. I've lowered the temperature to the cooler side. I think it looks a little bit better. I've added some more contrast. I mean, maybe I'll bump that up a bit more. I'll add a tad bit more clarity down here, just for this example. You could add any of these adjustments or all of them if you want to, and then you can dive into the clipboard tab and control what Capture One will apply to the next image. I think this should be done on a per shoot basis if you're going to do this, which is why I think Capture One is kind of better than Lightroom in this respect, because with Lightroom you have to create a preset and then save that preset and apply that preset to the images during the little tethered capture dialog box thing that I was showing you earlier. Whereas with Capture One, you copy the adjustments from an image and then after the shoot is done, they're gone, which is really great. If you always want to go back and copy those adjustments later on, you could always select an image from that shoot and then press copy again, and they're not clogging up your little preset tab inside of your software. So add whatever suits your workflow for that particular shoot. Maybe I'll give it some more structure, and then I'll go up to copy and click this little arrow icon. Now if I toggle back to the camera tab, I can go all the way down to the all other tab and select the copy from clipboard. Now when I go to take my next image, you can see that it not only auto rotates the image, but it applies all those corrections we just made to the previous image. Pretty cool, but here we get to my favorite part, which is nowhere to be found in Lightroom, and that is the overlay tab. Right here, it's what makes Capture One so awesome. This is for shooting into a client's design. Not only do I often shoot into a client's design for packaging or for an advert, but because I can do this overlay thing in Capture One, I promote it to all of my future clients when the subject comes up as far as how are we going to get the photos to match perfectly with the design that they already have. Say you have a design, maybe it's the cover of a magazine, maybe it's a package for a client, maybe it's just an advertisement for your blog. Now you can either drop the image here, or if you click choose file, I have a silly one right here that I created real quick in Photoshop and then saved as a PNG transparency. I mean, it's really important that the background is transparent because otherwise you're not going to be able to see the photo through the design. Now you can select your file and bam. It is so awesome that with such a simple button, and I don't know why this is not in Lightroom and it's only in Capture One, but you can shoot directly into a design. You can line your composition up perfectly with the text or the logos or the arrows pointing to stuff like I have here. And you can do other stuff like change the opacity and scale in case the design that they gave you doesn't quite match the image dimensions that you have. And even cooler is that you can click on the live view again and the overlay is on that as well. So you could either snap a picture and line up your composition with each take, or you could do it in real time with the overlay and live view. And in my opinion, it probably justifies owning the software just for that button alone. And even better is that you can take a little screenshot here and then send it off to the client in an email or a text. And they can see exactly what the image will look like inside their packaging or inside their design. So all right, now I'm rocking with my summer classic, my lemons and my bacon. So that was 3 reasons right there, just shooting tethered why Capture One kills Lightroom. But I actually have 2 more, but don't worry, they're real quick. My second favorite thing about Capture One is it allows you to shoot in sessions, or rather create unique sessions outside of your normal catalog of images for each shoot that you're working on. Click up here at File, New Session, then it prompts you to name your shoot. I'll just place in Awesome Sauce. Then I'll pick my location, and click OK. Now if I go to that folder on my hard drive, you can see that Capture One has created a host of new folders in that space. This has been a key to my file organization for years now, and because of this one feature, all of my shoots with all of my images are organized exactly the same way. No more messing around with weird dates and crazy names and crazy folder systems. I'll just go back to this green bean shoot that we were working on, and you can see that as I was taking the images, Capture One was placing them into my capture folder here on my hard drive. But you can also access all of this in the software in the folders tab right here. And in my opinion, Capture One has really made file organization organic and kind of logical for a photographer's workflow. When I take pictures, they appear in the capture folder, like I said. If I delete an image, Capture One moves it to the trash folder so I can go back and find it if I need to. If I like an image, I can place it in the selects folder. And if I want to process an image, I can right click and select process or Control D on the keyboard, and then it automatically gets sent to the output folder, which makes sense. And having all of my different shoots over the years organized in exactly the same way by shooting in sessions using Capture One just kills any kind of file organization of the day or however I was feeling when I was managing it on my own. Okay, the very last thing that I think kills Lightroom is the fact that you can entirely customize the look of Capture One and all of these tabs to fit your workflow. And I'm going back here to shooting Tethered and how this program really helps you on shoots. I can not only move all of this stuff around, I can add icons up here as well. Let's say I want to see my camera's battery level, nice and big right there so I know when it's going to die. I can right click on the toolbar, select customize and pick from any one of these tools. Now I want to show my battery level, so I can just click and drag this up here. But I can also create my own tab over here as well, and I can fill it with all the stuff that's important to my personal workflow. I can right click again, scroll down to Add Tool tab, then select the Custom Tool tab. I can name it, and I can select an icon for it. I'll just keep it at number 1. Then I can start filling it with all the things that I think are important to have on a shoot. Now I'll just set up a real basic one here. There's just so much that you can add on it, but I'll right click and I'll select Add Tools, and I'll choose from any of these tools in the drop down menu. You can see there's just a ton of them. And I'll definitely want to add, I think, the camera, of course, and the overlay, of course. And now maybe I'll add some color correction sliders right here, like exposure, and let's grab the white balance sliders as well. And if I want, I can rearrange them. Usually these are on top of the exposures. So I'll just put the white balance on top here. And okay, I'll grab maybe the clarity sliders. I like them a lot. Oh, and maybe I'll get that next capture adjustment tab that we were using. And I'll move that up top as well. There, now I have my own custom shooting tab filled with all the stuff that I use on a daily. And if I find that I need to add something or remove something later on, it's super simple, and there's no more needing to hunt around the program to find something when I'm trying to concentrate on my shoot. If you're brand new to Capture One, or maybe you just want to brush up on all of these basics, you know who has a class in Capture One? Skillshare. This video is sponsored by the lovely folks over at Skillshare. If you haven't heard of Skillshare, people, it's time to check them out. Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of classes covering dozens of creative and entrepreneurial skills. And you can explore classes in everything from photography, Capture One, like I said, creative writing, marketing, productivity. I mean, there are a ton, a literal metric ton of classes. So, premium membership gives you unlimited access to high quality classes from experts working in their field to help you gain new skills. And the first 1,000 of my subscribers to click on that link in the description will get a 2-month free trial of premium membership so you can explore your creativity. Skillshare is also incredibly affordable with annual memberships of less than $10 a month. So I'm taking a course right now titled How to Make a Podcast. It's something that I've kind of been toying around with up here, in this old noggin of mine. And I kind of think it would be really cool to get some other, great photographers together and chat about some photo stuff. But this class is a Skillshare original by John Lagomarsino. I'm only 1 or so lessons in, and I'm learning all about, planning my pilot episode and creating a blueprint for my show, That's not really out there yet, it's still in my head, but this class is definitely making me think more about how to structure it. So check out this class all about podcast, check out Skillshare. Again, the first 1,000 of my subscribers to click on the link in the description below will get a 2-month free trial of premium membership so you can explore your creativity, which is a pretty sweet deal. But that's it for this video. If you have any experience with Capture One and you want to, drop some comments down below as to why you think it's the best program ever, let everyone know about it. I'm sure people would like to know more about the program. And if you haven't used it before and you have questions, let me know in the comments because I'd love to make another video about it. I mean, I use it every day. I don't know why I've never talked about it before on this channel, but I think it's an awesome program. So with that being said though, This video and probably the next couple of videos are gonna be the last couple of videos in this space. After that, we're moving to a new location that is kind of yet to be decided, but I'm gonna find a home for this studio and a home for this place. Over the next couple of days, I'm gonna be cranking out videos, so I gotta get to work. I'll see you in the next one.